What's going on, people? We're back with another video. The time has finally come. We are going to finish off the A3 today. We're going to show you the final result. We've got a few little bits to cover. Let's start on the wipers first. We have to take them off to do the jigging around this area. I'm going to adjust this wing, adjust all of the lining. I need to change the wishbone, then get the car aligned. I also need to change the rear caliper. It looks like it's seized, so we'll do that as well. And then we'll service the car, we'll go get it washed, and then we'll make a little B-roll for the final result. Alright guys, we're going to work on the wishbone now. As you can see, it is damaged there. So let's take that off, assess the damage on the rest of the suspension. From here, it looks like that's the only damage there is. So I'm hoping we don't find anything unexpected. But yeah, once that is sorted, the car should be very drivable. We're going to service it, of course, and then take it back out. So to take a wishbone off on the MQB cars, there are literally two 18mm bolts and then 16mm bolts holding on the ball joint onto the hub. Inspect the subframe. As you know, the subframes on these A3s are aluminium, unlike the Golf and Golf R's, etc. Even the base spec non-performance cars, they're all aluminium subframes. So it wouldn't be a surprise to see us damaged subframe, but I've already checked before. I couldn't see anything. I'm just gonna give it a clean and then I'll show you the damaged wishbone versus the new one. I'm just looking at the ball joint. I was a little scared that the ball joint is going to be damaged, so I was prepared to change it. You can see the difference there between the new one and the old one. It's not hard to tell which one's the new one, but if you couldn't see, the actual damage is right there. Now this completely throws off the tracking of the car, and the car is just not going to drive in a straight line at all. We're gonna take the caliper off now, the rear caliper. Like I said before, I believe this is seized. The actual brake disc, it looks bad, but it's just some surface rust. So once we start driving, it should start to look good again. The brake pads are not too bad as well, so we'll keep them for another few thousand miles at least, and then probably change out all the brakes at once. Alright, the caliper is off. I'm gonna get the replacement caliper. It's not brand new, it's a second-hand one we bought. That's the rear caliper replaced. We're gonna take the handbrake out of service mode now, and then we'll have to bleed all four corners. Okay, click adjust. That is running, you can hear it in the background. And that should be done. So you can click stop, and if it was successful, you can put the handbrake up. There you go, all done. I know there's a whole Christmas tree on here, but it's mainly because the battery was dead, and also it doesn't have any coolant. So let's sort all those little problems out now, and then see where we get to. Right guys, now that we've replaced the brake caliper, we'll of course have to bleed the braking system, as you might know already. So on a car, once you disconnect the brake lines anywhere, if that's on the master cylinder or if that's on one of the brake calipers, could introduce air into the system, which would hinder the braking ability of the car. The pedal will feel soft and squishy, which is not good. So usually you have to bleed your brake if you've done any sort of work on the calipers like we did today. What a lot of people do is one person sits in the driver's seat, he pumps the brake pedal up, the other person releases the bleeding nipple, and then let some of the air out, tightens it back up, and then release the pedal slowly. That is effective, but you're probably gonna get about 80% of the air out, especially in these cars. I'm not sure about non-WAG cars, but a lot of the European cars, a lot of the Japanese cars, the Asian cars, a lot of them are similar, where it is recommended you bleed them with a pressure bleeder. So this one in particular, it can go up to 30 psi, which is recommended on a lot of the performance cars to get a proper bleed out of, such as Mark 7 Golfs, Mark 7 GTIs. You have to bleed them at 30 psi. Not a lot of the pressure bleeders can handle 30 psi, they will explode. This one in particular, I've been using it for a good while now on a lot of cars, and it's been faultless, so I could recommend it. It is a laser manual brake bleeder, I believe that's what it's called. So what you do in essence is fill this up with new brake fluid, you tighten the cap around here, you pump this up to 30 psi, and then once you've got fluid going into the brake reservoir at 30 psi, you can go down to the brake calipers, release each nipple. So a lot of people would recommend that you do the furthest one first, and then the second furthest, and then the passenger side, and then the driver's side. I'll tell you what, on these cars, it really doesn't matter. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. If you ask two different Audis, they'll give you two different responses. One will say, do the closest, do the nearest first, do the passenger side first. If you go search the forums, you will get many different answers. What I would suggest is you just bleed them, see how it feels, and go from there. But I've bled them in both ways, and I've not had any issues, to be fair. So usually what I do is I'll do the furthest anyways, because it's just common sense. Yeah, so let's pump this up and then bleed the brakes quickly. I'll show you the procedure. If you look close enough, you can actually see the fluid go down the pipe into the brake reservoir, and then once it hits it, you will start building up pressure. I am going to do a 30 psi, not 30 but like 27 psi bleed on this. Okay, so this is the caliper that we changed. So brake nipple on this one is right here, it is covered up. So take the cover off, and this would be a 11mm. So just put that over here. If that doesn't fit, turn it around, and it will. My pipe that I'm going to use to collect the brake fluid is not clear anymore, so I can't really show you much. It used to be clear, believe it or not, but after many brake bleeds, it has lost its clearness, I guess, and it's also hardened for some reason. And then it shows you the effects of brake fluid. So I'll just show you one without it on. So what you would do is loosen this, probably another turn. Let's turn that around. Yeah, you can see the air coming out and brake fluid coming out. Once the brake fluid starts coming out, you can tighten it up. And you need to repeat that 5 times on each corner. So what you would usually do is put this pipe on here. I'm probably giving you a horrible explanation, but that's the way I do it anyways. And then you would release it, and then that will let the fluid build up into the bottle, and you don't make a mess anyway, like I did just over here. But I'll clean that up. I'm going to do the rest of the 4 corners and then catch you guys. A new development, guys. While we were doing the service, we looked at the pan a little more closely, and we thought, you know what, it got some dings and stuff in it. So we thought, why not just replace it while we're here doing the service, and the oil is out. So what we're going to do is quickly take the sump off, order a new one, and then that should be here tomorrow morning. So we'll be able to put that back on, seal it up, and then that's the car almost finished. Alright, that's the oil pan off. This is what the bottom end of the engine looks like. This is where the oil pickup is. There's a little filter in there as well. The good sign is you don't see any damage here. So all we'll have to do is replace the oil pan, which is a fairly simple job, to be fair. So let's put the new one on now. Alright guys, the new sump is here. We have to make sure we don't get anything in here, because in the end it will end up in the engine. So let's keep it in the plastic for now till we're ready to seal it. Just for comparison, this is the original one right here. I mean, that's a bit dented and bruised, so we thought we'll give it a fresh new pan. It's only a metal piece that holds the oil when it's not being used, so shouldn't be a big issue. We'll swap the sensor out. So this is the bottom end of the engine. I've cleaned it out much as possible with brake cleaner and a razor blade, so we could get a good seal once we put the new sump on. So let's put the sealant on the new sump, and then we'll come and put it back onto the engine. The liquid seal is on. Not the cleanest, but it should do. I think we've covered all areas, so let's see how it holds up. Alright guys, the new sump is now on. We let it cure for about 30 minutes. Now we're going to put the oil in and see if there are any leaks. Hopefully there isn't, so let's do that quickly. So once the car was filled up with oil, we ran it for about 15 minutes. We didn't notice any leaks, and then I'll check again probably in a couple of days after driving the car around. Now you can see me filling up the coolant. So unless you have a machine that can pressurize the system, filling up the coolant is a bit of a long process. You have to fill it up bit by bit, let it go into the system, bleed out the air. You can only do that by running the car itself, which I'll probably do off camera, to be honest. But this is the initial fill up. At this point, the car is pretty much finished. As you can see, there's not many lights on the dash at all now. I think there's one for the rear light, which I just had to plug in there, and the bonnet was open. But the car is running nice. It sounds nice. It drives nice. I'm gonna end the series here. There are a few small teething issues that I need to fix, but you'll be seeing the car in some other videos, but I won't make any more standalone videos for this. So I hope you enjoyed the series. I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I'll leave you with some before and after clips.